Hello, my people. It's always a blessing to be with you, and to be in your company is truly something that makes me a better person. So, I have a special instrument this week that I purchased at the swap meet. This is a Vicente Tatay Tomas. I'm thinking like early 50s on this old girl. Got a beautiful rosette that's been kind of fucked up, partially by me. I'll tell you what happened in a little bit because I don't want to make me look bad at the beginning of the episode. Because first impression is so important. You know what I'm saying? So I'll tell you how I acquired this instrument, man. Flea market, exterior, right? Tables around, Guitkit and daughter walking slowly, looking at things. I see on this table like this instrument and a couple of like Coca-Cola bottles from like Mexico. And like, you know what I mean, some guy just sitting there with a bunch of money in his hand and some other weird things. An empty Coke bottle, by the way. It wasn't like, you know what I mean? You know, they thought that, you know what I mean? It was like this guy was picking out trash. He found some stuff, and it happened to be, and I was like, "Ooh, what a guitar!" I looked at it. It was a real Spanish guitar, and it's all fucked up. The neck is like sort of cracked. You know what I mean, like this, and you know what I mean. It's all messed up. It's got missing binding, which is wood. You know what I mean? I was like, I wonder what's he gonna want. You know what I mean, $100,000, son. That was Elvis's guitar. It's $10. I was like, something I can do. And $10, and I walked away with it. And then, right like 2 feet away, I noticed like in the garbage bin, this beautiful case from like the early 50s. I was like, oh. He just saw this in the garbage, and he opened the case, and he's like, oh, he didn't think about taking the case out of the garbage. And anyway, the bridge is lifting. We got lots of missing binding on this side. We got a huge crack on the back. You know, there's all kinds of problems with it. But I like it because I don't have a Tatay Tomas. I believe that Chris Martin sold his original guitar that he ever had. Or when it came to auction, or some shit happened where somebody bought it for millions of dollars. And it wasn't even as nice as this. It was like a later model, you know. This became known as like a cheap Spanish guitar. Like Valencia is one of those guitar making areas in Spain that has a long and storied history. And you could go to Wikipedia and find out more about it. I ain't Mr. Wikipedia. I'm here to show you my art. I'm trying to fix shit in a fucked up manner and not the correct way, in an express way, because I like it being an express way right to your heart. So what we're going to do is we're going to fix this girl up. We're going to take a better look at it. But before we do that, I want to tell you a little bit of a tale that's come to recent sort of, you know what I'm saying, what do I want to say, urban legend, maybe. Now, there's somebody online that's trying to say that Tatay Tomas was the company that made all the Blue Label Ramirez guitars. And we talked about Blue Label Ramirez guitar with George Harrison episode a couple months back, you know what I mean? Where I was like, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't really that good of an episode, but it was a good guitar. And in that spirit, I want to say owning one of these Tatay Tomas guitars and owning a real like Blue Label, you know what I'm saying, Blue Label Ramirez guitar that is the exact same maker as George Harrison, because it just has that weird headstock shape, and I just know it just looking at it and the label placement and everything. This is the same outfit, if it wasn't Ramirez, that made the George Harrison Blue Label. Tatay Tomas is not the same company. No, sir. I know guitars. I fuck around with guitars all the time. Whoever made this guitar did not make the Blue Label Ramirez. Sorry, bro. Sorry, bro. New hobby time, right? You can collect things. I think it might be cool to collect different shades of 3M sticky notes, man. You know what I'm saying? Blank ones. You should look into that, bro, because you're wrong. You know what I'm saying? Sorry about that, man. So let's flip it around, man, because I want to get peaceful now. Because I'm all about the peace lately, man. I ain't about warring with nobody. I'm about making peace because karma is a bitch. So, peace be with you. I'm going to flip you around in 1, 2, 3. I'm the case, I'm the case, I'm the case, I'm the case, I'm the case. The original case, man. Definitely old, late 40s. Early 50s. Old stinger remnant. Broken handle. Broken handle, bicycle for two. Fundamental jamboree. Look at this real old school Traveler immigration sticker, man. It's from 1891. You see that? Old as fuck. I'm just kidding, man. Old school, man. You know what I'm saying? Been around the world tonight. Let's take a look inside, man. Let's take a look inside the inside. See where those strings have been long. Touching on it, man. Gorgeous, man. Ancient instrument. Been in there a long time, but it's fucked up. Really need to take a better look at it outside the case. Let's take a look inside the little, inside the case's hole for a second here, man. Case's hole. He's got an innie. We gotta pry him out. See what's inside there. That old ice pick. Hey, man, it takes a ginger hand, man. Get out. Guitar. Move aside, I say. Step aside, bitch. It is. This is definitely like early 50s, 40s. You know what I'm saying? Super pitch pike. Before the zip code, man. For the Spanish guitar. Not in here, man. It's just an empty box. Look at that groovy look, man. Now. I see you without this case in 1 second now. Yeah, so decasified. You see this, man? I think that might be from the case, man. You see missing bits of inlay, and I think the binding's alright for the most part. Oh wait, this binding here is missing. From the back, there's a big. We can always replace that. Pretty good with doing all kinds of bindings. One thing that I fucked up, and I think it was definitely my fault, was over here. Because I saw that this was all moving this way. I'm just like, well, let me push it back. Just see how I push back, all these little pieces are flying out. I was like, oh no. I mean, that's really like not a big deal. A little couch there. No, not real. Other than that, like the nuts okay. A little off center. Very sort of, you know what I'm saying? Rudimentary. See, that's tuner's probably worth some money. See that? Crazy, man. All slotted. Yeah. This was some sexy tuners, man. I'm gonna have to make this as a totally only adults sign-in video, man. It's too sexy for everybody, man. So let's go into the laboratory. You know what I'm saying? Let's look it over better. We got it coming off the, bursting off the seams, man. We got all kinds of, you know what I mean, funky shit going on with this. Lots of funky kicks going down in the city. So we're going to want to take these strings off and meet up in the laboratory. Right? We're going to try to get this Vicente Tatay Tomas. You know what I mean? Feeling like his old self again. His old selfish self. Generalissimo Franco, please, my friend, can I have some Chef Boyardee spaghettios with the meatballs? Or better yet, with the Frankfurters. Yes, you may with the Frankfurters. Welcome back to the laboratory. Getting a little tipsy with the holiday season coming on. Fucking Christmas music everywhere. This guitar is in worse shape than Valencia itself, man. Right? It's got a whole bunch of issues, man. 4 major issues that we got to correct over the next couple of minutes, man. You know? Hey, I'm trying to condense things. First thing and foremost thing is this neck has to be put in the right place. See how this is over here? This is over here. We got to put some kind of on this to pull that back, but not pull it up. That's really fucked up. And this binding's also not really helping us any, because when we push that up, the binding goes with it. So, I don't know, man. It's kind of like a lose-lose situation. Second thing that we got to worry about is this fucking rosette here is all shredded out. We got to stabilize that, right? The third thing that we got to worry about is this, man. It looks like we're going to be dumping some water on that. Guys, like, take it off. I don't know what we're going to do. I don't really know, man. It's kind of a bother. It's kind of a bother, man. And the fourth thing, we got to replace all this fucking binding and shit. There's binding missing here, of course. There's binding missing back here. So that's the four big things that are missing with this. You know, other than that, it needs a bit of a fret job. It's got, you know what I mean? It's got a lot of, you know what I'm saying? A lot of issues, man. It's got a lot of ghosts, man. So let's bring it over to the other end of the countertop and sort of clamp it up and put like a piece of wood behind it, something like that. I'll see you on that on that side of town once I get my thoughts together, man. Right? And I'll tell you what we're going to do, and then we'll do it together, huh? Alright, so we got these two He-Man clamps sort of pushing the neck back. One is pushing the neck this way, and one is holding the guitar flat, kind of. So we evened up the fuck up there to the best degree that we can. You know what I'm saying? For the most part. I mean, it's still a little messed up looking here because there's some wood missing. But in truth, I mean, it's alright. So we got a piece of, nice thick piece of like cedar here from a Ceta shingle. These are things that are indispensable. And we're going to put the thick end over here because that's where all the fucked up shit's going on, most of it. Although it's all over the place. And we're just going to coat the shit out of this with glue. And we got a nice, pretty hefty clamp. We got a piece of wood tape there so we can get over this brace. That's brace number 4, it looks like, right? And we're going to just clamp this brace there and hopefully do away with this, you know what I mean, crack deal. Hey man, he was addicted to this crack deal. Right, so let's see what we can do. I'll see after we've been clamped. I got a rubber glove here. Sort of stop this piece of wood from sliding around. Hey man. We got it where it should be though. So let's pool a whole bunch of wood glue here and on this side here. Just sort of stabilize that rosette. We're never able to, like, you know, fix that correctly. So let's just stabilize it and call it a date. Right? See if that burnt. That's the case, man. Right? Don't worry about glue splatter. This guitar was toast. You know what I'm saying? Toast, man. I was toast that night, man. Let's let it set till it's sort of set. And we'll set out to do something else, right? Namely, this old gal. See if that burnt. Burner. Right. So we've had a clamp 5 days. We really have a nice back bow going now. See this? How this is actually pulled away. This wood on the top's actually sort of shrunken up a bit over the 40, 50, 60 years that it's been fucked up. So let's unclamp it and then we'll discuss our next moves. Alright, so it went from having like an extreme forward bow to like a slight back bow. Under pressure, it had like an extreme back bow, but once we got the pressure off, we got a good 2-3 millimeters back. So hopefully we're not going to have to raise up the bridge anymore. So looking at this bridge, it looks like it has been, you know what I mean, re-glued. Possibly even replaced. I don't think it's been replaced. But it's got some fucked up middle deal here. So let's try to pry this thing off somehow. I got like a couple different tricks. We'll see which one works. And then I'll report to you if we can or can't without further, you know what I mean, further trials and tribulations. So let's try to get it off. If we can't get it off, we'll regroup and talk about that then. So there it is, man. Came off without too much of a fuss. Put some tape around it so we didn't scratch up the top. I think the top might have got a little fucked up under here, but I'm not really too worried about this top. Hey, man, let's take your top off, you fucking rodent. So, this is the tool used by the great fool. I don't really know what it's called. It says USM3 on it. It's got extremely, like, razor sharp edge on one side and a very razor sharp edge on the top. And you just stick it under a bridge like that. You can pull it right up. It's a great tool, man. But this guy, it's like a fucking rocking horse. So let's deal with him first. And then we'll come back to this old girl. Right? You'll both be dealt with in your due time. See you in a moment. Alright, so we got it all ready to go. I was sanding off the back. I know it's been re-glued to the guitar several times because there's a layer of glue. Then there was like some wood remnants and some glue behind the wood remnants. So the original wood remnants are actually, you know what I mean, from when it first flew off the guitar at one point. But it's obviously got a big curve to it. So accidentally a little piece broke off the corner here while we were sanding it. That's my bad, but I'll hold on to this little piece carefully. Won't lose it. We'll sort of glue it back in the corner. Nobody will fucking know. So I got a little, old lid here. I'm going to put this guy top up like this in the lid. Weigh him down. I got this burling water here. It's all burled out, man. It's steaming. See it steam up. See it steam up. See that steam? Slowly covering it up. All right. There we go. We're totally covered. Right, we'll flip it around a couple times over the next 24 hours, 48 hours, whatever the fuck. See how it's all burling up there, man. And we want to try to use this original bridge. I have plenty of bridges that I could, in my drawers that I could definitely, slip this guy out for. But might as well try to use an original part if we can. Right, so while this guy seeps up and steps up, let's get back to the body. Take good care of him. We'll take good care of you, Charles. All right? You'll be taken care of. Alright, so now it's back to this ugly thing, right? Ugly thing. So we got some issues up here, which we talked about before, and that's because this binding has sort of stretched out. There's nothing we can really do with that because it's sort of underneath the fretboard and in the bottom there, you know what I'm saying? So it's going to probably end up getting filled in with Bondo and like colored out to sort of trick it out so it's not be as, if you're over here, you don't even see it anyway. But I mean, this guitar, we're not built for show. So that brings us to this mess up shit over here. This is a piece of binding that's missing. And then we got a piece of binding that's broken off here. Well, the broken off one's going to be the hardest one, so we'll come back to that one, right? I'll come back to you, alright? This one's going to be the easiest one. I bought a whole bunch of wooden binding. Wooden binding is not as easy to work with. And this is the exact right kind of binding, you can tell. It's not as easy to work with as plastic binding by any means. So the first thing we're going to do is just sort of put a piece of wood in here. And then we're going to talk about this guy. So let's cut a piece of binding off here that fits perfectly in here. Glue it in, tape it in, and then we'll talk about this fucking ugly rag after this guy's dry. Right? Hey, I want you to dry out before we talk about business. I can't talk to no drunks. Right? See you in a moment. All right. So we got it glued and taped on. That's sort of accomplished. Now, this binding here is slightly thinner than the side binding. Slightly. Only 0.5 millimeter or so. However, there's like a lip here that sticks out. So it's I think gonna be okay because it's gonna sort of be on a curve. And when it's on there, you're not gonna be able to see much of nothing. So the first thing I want to do is try to break this piece off in like a sort of straight manner, like right there, like a chisel or something. See at that part and I'll tell you how I did it. Alright, so now we got a clean break there. How we did it: first we scored it with an X-Acto knife right where the break came clean, right? And then we took a little 1/2-inch chisel, sharpened it up real good, tapped it in until it was down to the body, and then we took a little carver chisel to get that little piece out of there, man. So we're in perfect condition. Have a nice whole fiberglass sort of measuring tape here. It's 5 3/4. So we're going to go ahead and cut a piece of binding that's 5 3/4. And we're going to install it, and I'll show you how it looks after we have it taped on, right? The old taping. Alright, so first we trimmed most of the excess overhang off with a scroll saw. We taped the base of it to this part, and we taped another one here. Then we took a little piece of scrap wood and put it here, and we got a big ass pipe clamp sort of holding it right, holding it to the street. There'll be a couple little gaps here and there, but we'll put more glue in there after it dries, and we'll sand it down, and it'll look nice for the people. I guarantee you. It'll look better than it did. You know what I'm saying, Charles? It looked like a bunch of fucking shit. I'll see after everything here dries. And I mean by dry, I mean it's not fucking wet. You know what I'm saying? That's why I said it. Alright, so it's the next day. Let's take this tape and this clamp off because we don't want this tape to take too much of that paint off. Right? Alright, not bad. Not bad at all. It's not great, perfect. But it's not that bad. So let's go take a look at our bridge because we've had him set in the water for about 24 hours now. Alright. So, looks alright. We took some time last night to scrape some of that glue off. It was like coming off of it. So, let's take this out of the water, clamp it firmly to the end of this countertop. Right? Firmly. See you then. Alright, so we got it clamped pretty well to the end of the counter here. We got a piece of wax paper underneath it, piece of wax paper on top of it. Got this clamp holding down the bridge clamp. And we got the ends sort of pushed down to the side there. You know what I'm saying? With a little piece of wood to protect it. So let's let this set a couple days. Let's get back to work on that body there. Alright, so we're back here with the body. Now, we have a big crack that kind of runs here. And you can see right behind this crack we have all these braces. And it's not too loose, but it could get loose. Now, ultimately, we're probably going to fill this up with Bondo. But let's pump some glue in there right now. And likewise, let's tape off this edge here. Put some glue, if we can, in between here. And after we've glued it, we're going to sand this down because it's got a little rough edge hanging off there. So we want to get that even, Steven. So we'll tape this off, glue in here, pump some glue in here. All right, let it sit overnight. I'll see you at that pernt, my pernted friends. All right, so we went to work on it. Passes the Ray Charles test. You can't really feel any of the seams, especially here. So it's great. The glue also is dried in the seam. Before, if you push down on it, you could hear like a little creaking going on. With the braces, I feel no creaking, so it's all solid now. That being said, still a little bit of glue here from a previous repair. That's not from me. That's from somebody else. Looks like Elmer's glue or something. We're going to tape up the sides of the seam. All right. And we're going to tape up this mess over here. And we're going to go outside. It's a nice sunny day today. And we're going to Bondo this whole thing because you see these cracks, man. We want to just sort of make it like one big, you know what I mean, false piece of wood, right? And we want to sort of just fill this in because it's ugly. You know what I'm saying? We're not trying to fool anybody. We just want to sort of like, you know what I mean, make it a little bit less auspicious. That's not a word yet. Trust me. Your kids are going to love it. So I'll see you outside when we done up the Bonder, right? Just give you a quick glimpse of our Bondo world. All right. So we got it all filled in. We got all the Bondo mess going out here. And we did the other side. See that? See that? So we're gonna let it set out here. Just a couple of minutes and then bring it in to the garage. Because it's a little bit too chilly out here for it to set. You know what I'm saying? Completely. Right? I'll see you down in the basement. Down the cellar, as we say sometimes. Alright, so it's all nice and hard. It's funny because it was a beautiful sunny day all day long. As soon as I bring this guy out to Bondo it, like the clouds roll in. I mean, the cold comes, man. So, right now, I mean, it doesn't really need too much sanding on the back. It's going to need a little bit on the front, though. You know what I'm saying? Not too much work, really, but we're going to want to sand it, and then we're going to, you know what I mean, re-tape it, and we're going to paint it. Let's one thing at a time. Let's sand this guy off, front and back. Get it all even and smooth. I'll see you at that pernt. You know what I'm saying? Way to make a pernt, jerk off. So it's all sanded down to grade. Wasn't a big job, but it's looking good, looking better. Front also. So what are we going to do now? Well, there's a lot of separation going on here. See that? Yeah. over here, on the side here. There's places everywhere. This whole guitar is like all falling the fuck apart, man. Everywhere you look, man. So we're going to spend a day or two just plugging those areas with the glue. You know what I'm saying? Let this Bondo sort of sink down a little bit, and then we'll, try to mask it out a little bit, man. Let's take the next 24 hours just to keep on plugging those areas with the glue. We're not going to really do anything to, you know what I mean, get rid of them, because, I mean, there's just so many of them. It's almost impossible to, you know what I mean, fix it all. So let's just glue it and secure it so, you know what I mean, we bang into something, it's not going to break off like we did back here. You know what I'm saying? Those all got broken down. We don't want to be all broken down, right? For the people. Let's glue it, and then we'll just say screw it. See you after that's been done. Alright, so we pumped this guy's stem to stern with glue for 2 days now. It's definitely feeling a lot more solid. You know what I'm saying? We bang it into the cabinet now. Oh, binding doesn't fall off. Just, you know what I mean? Looks all banged up. So, what we're going to do is we're going to paint this guy. This acrylic paint looks about right. Again, we're not going to, you know what I'm saying, worry too much. And we're going to tape this guy up in the back. Do the same thing with this strip. Hey, man. Let's go get some strippers, man. Right? Just those two little bondoed areas, right? All in the bondage, man. Right? I see that burnt. Alright, so we got it all painted out. It's dry now. Alright. We have to sort of use like a couple different shades. We have like a cocktail of acrylic paint there. But it was good because it kind of gives it like the allure of real wood. We got it taped off. We did the front too. We're shining like light on it. Every time we shine light on it. It's no, you know what I mean, right? So let's take a black pencil and just sort of color some black lines in here. Color some black lines in there, Charles. It'll look nice and healthy for you. Just a little bit, you know what I mean? More distinctive. See you in a moment. Now, we ain't talking no Pablo Picasso. We're just talking about making it look nice for the people. Oh, Walmart Crayola pack of fucking pencils. That's all you need. Brand new one. Nice and sharp. Looks great. So, what we're going to do, I got some shellac here, man. Mr. Shellac. I got a nice thick brush. We're just going to do some quick runs on this side just to seal it, right? And then we're going to wait for that to dry. We're going to flip it over. We're going to do a nice thick run down this seam while it's still taped off. Wait for it to dry. Pull that tape off. We're going to take care of these guys over here, these two individuals. All right, so we got a lot of shellacking to do. I hope you guys will behave yourselves while we're doing it. And after we're done, we're going to get back together. All right? 1, 2, 3. All right, so the shellac's dried. It looks much better. I mean, it looks a little bit, shiny. But once we give this guy a little bit of cleaning and oiling and waxing, I mean, it looks a lot better than it did, right? And plus, got a little color to that bare wood now. So it looks excellent. So let's talk about this, man. It's been 5 days since we put it under the press, man. Let's take a good look at it. I'm going to hold the press, man. All right, let's take a look at it, right? Let's unclamp it. All right, so it's totally flat now. It's not like a rocking chair anymore. That's a good thing. But it's kind of like, you know what I mean, got that frosting from the water, you know what I mean, and lacquer sort of interacting in a bad sort of way. So let's take some of this weak nail polish, the regular strength Magic Erase sponge, and just sort of try to, you know what I mean, bring back the luster if we shall. Shall we? See you in a moment. All right, so that's what I'm talking about. Looking like brand new again. So let's just go ahead and use this old guy and, with a regular old deep clamp. Let's clamp this to the guitar with lots of glue. I'll see you at that pernt. Careful is the main word. Alright, so we got it clamped down nice and strong, nice and tight. See, there's no lift at the back anymore. A little bit of spill out coming around. We took a lot of the spill out of there, but we left a little bit on there to just make sure it adheres correctly. Remember the little corner? We still have his little chip right there. Why don't we stick him where he belongs, right? Right? Love lifts us up where we belong. There it is, man. Back where it belongs, man. Let's let this set like 2 days. 2 days, dude. 2 days, guy. Right? And then we can put a little pressure on it. But until then, we just let it set. And set its will. Alright, so it's been 2.5 days since we clamped it. Sun clamp it. You know what I'm saying? We want to take a long time before we put like serious pressure on this. Because I had it clamped for 5 days to the countertop to straighten it out. And even then, it was still like a little tiny bit wet, in the middle, the bottom. I should have showed that to you, but you know what I mean? I was just thinking about it now. So, I mean, there have been plenty of times where I put strings on a guitar after I re-glued the bridge and it was just too early and it started fucking up again, So we want to keep this guy level to the bevel. Let's take this clamp off. All right, so that looks good. And we glued it back in the correct place. It's been kind of glued lopsided at one point. So this guy's been through a lot of war. It's got a big crack running here. What we're going to do is we're going to pump some glue in there and let that dry. And after we do that, we're going to do a fret job on this old girl. Like this. Frets are in horrible shape. This one's all worn down. These are all corroded looking. So we're going to do that. We also need to do a round over on the side there because it's kind of nasty. So glue in there, fret job on here. And I'll see after that's been accomplished. Or I could say accomplished. Alright, so we put some glue in there, wiped it up. Happy with ourselves. Did a nice fret job. Leveled all the frets off with the fret block. A lot of people put Sharpie up and down this guy. And I've done it a couple times, when they're newer looking frets. But when they're old frets, as soon as you see it looking like Shining Time Station, then, you're good. You're even. You're level. Then we use a fret file on the fine side. About 15 times up and back each fret. Until they're like totally like looking like fret-like as opposed to like park bench. You know what I'm saying? Then on the side for the round over, we have a nice Miller's file, brand new one. I got this at the flea market a couple months ago. This thing is fucking money. I used to use this old bird back here, but he's starting to get like retirement age. Once that was done, we just take a nice, 100 block, soft block on the sides, just to take the edge off to make it even smoother. It looks good. So we're gonna wipe all this like dust directly into the garbage can with a paper towel. Then we're going to take some mineral oil, just work it in there with some steel wool. And that'll, clean up the frets even nicer, smooth up the frets even nicer, and it will bring a little bit of beautiful color back to this, what we call a new fretboard. See if that's been accomplished, my friends. Nice and greasy. A lot of Spanish guitars don't really have Brazilian rosewood. I don't know what kind of rosewood they're using. I think it's Brazilian though. Guitars from the early 50s, I'm pretty sure. Just by looking at the custom stamps on the case. So, I'm not sure what they were rolling with at that point. Let's let this set in, I don't know, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, wipe it off. Or wipe it down, whatever you want to say, man. I like to wipe myself down. I don't like to wipe myself off. You know what I'm saying? I wipe myself down. Either way, I'll see after we've been wiped. Wipe me down, William. Alright, so it's been wiped down. Right? We let it set overnight. And then we wiped it down again this morning. Just because sometimes the grease seeps out again. It's a little bit of seeped out. We let it set for another 4 or 5 hours. We take things slow here in the laboratory, right? So now we're ready to get clean, man. This thing is fucking dirty. It's got what kind of scrum on it, man? I'm not just saying scum, I'm saying scrum, man. This is like fucking shit all over it, man. Glue remnants, fucking snot remnants, fucking asshole remnants, any kind of fucking remnants that people can put on a goddamn guitar, right? Over 60, 70 years worth of remnants. I got some old Polish, man. This is 37.9262% kielbasa grease, man. This is a strong stuff, man. This is imported right from fucking Warsaw, man. I give you the Polish, man. I give you all the Polish, man. Right? It's correct, man. We're going to clean the shit out of this motherfucker. Just clean it, man, because it's so disgusting. We're going to keep the greasy kielbasa remnants off this, though, because this has already been treated, man. Treat it like a lady, got to treat it right. Right? See, after being wiped around. I'm not wiping it down, man. I'm wiping it around, man. You know what I mean? I'm going to wipe these fucking two jerk-offs around. You know what I'm saying? Then we bang around the clowns in the parking lot. You know what I'm talking about? All right, Tony, let's do it. You know what I'm saying? I just... Nice and shony, man. Shoney's buffet, man. A lot cleaner than it was, man. A lot cleaner than it was, too. But we still have a couple areas here where there's lots of wear. Kind of are still whitening everything up, William. I don't want it to be all so whitened. Kind of gives me a bothersome moment in my life when I see something whitened. Right? So we're going to give this guy a nice, dousing once or twice over in certain areas of old lemon oil. This is old stock, man. It's from like the 70s, man. It's an old ass bottle of lemon oil, man. Let's put that everywhere but the fretboard. In some areas we'll hit it up a couple of times, right? Just a couple of times, right? Right around here, all the wear areas. Where? Well, on the areas. On the hairiest areas there are. I'll see you in a moment. Doesn't it look wonderful, Wendell? Wow. Well, when, where, why? It just took away the grays, man. I look like I'm 22 again. 22 and a fucking half. You know what I'm saying? It's great. Now, we got it all greased up. Got some Vitalis in our hair. But it's still going to dry. And eventually, get all ashy again, man. So you go outside in the wintertime, shit gets all ashy. That's where this guy comes in, man. Usually I used to be talking about putting mothers everywhere, mother's cleaner wax. We already cleaned this guy pretty much. This is my new favorite thing. I came off the bat not liking it at all. And now I want to fucking put it on my toast in the morning. It's the greatest thing since fucking sliced bread. And since a broad in my bed. You know what I'm saying? Sliced bread and a broad in my bed. And when she's done, she makes me a fucking sandwich. Right? A bigger sandwich. Anyway. Let's do it up everywhere, including here, man. We want to lock in that grease like a piece of Swiss cheese, man. I see after we've been all waxed up. Hey, like Miyagi says, wax on, wax off, but don't be whacking off. You know what I'm saying? Right. Oh, look at that, man. The grease is in the knees, man. Look at that. Look at that fucking guitar. Remember what it looked like before we got our little greasy hands on it, man? Remember it? Remember its funky ugliness, man? Funky fucked up shitness? Hey, man, I'm really into shitness. You know what I'm saying? I take care of myself in a shitty way. Right, so, I mean, we could technically right now just, put the, things on there and put the strings on there and dance around. But I want to do a couple other things because right before we waxed it up, I put like, a ball of the masking tape, big ball of masking tape in there, and I pulled out all the shit that was like rattling around there like a fucking maraca. It looked like there was some mice that were living in here for a little while. And they're the ones that ate this up. Why? Because there's all kinds of mice shit in there. They're rattling around like a fucking goddamn maraca. But we took all the little tiny pieces of label that we got out of there, and we're going to just put them in, like, fold them up in a piece of wax paper and put them in the case. Because, you know what I'm saying, man? What if one day there's some guy that comes along after I'm gone and wants to restore the label? It looks great, though. Look at this part, man. Remember that? Where we dumb that shit out? You can barely even see it, man. It looks fucking more than dumb. So let's go over and take a look at that case, man. You know what I'm saying? Because it's real filthy. We're not going to fix the case. I just want to clean it. I want to show you a couple things, man. Hey, what things I meant? The things, all right? So I'll see you at the case. 1, 2, 3. So I told you to go in my fucking case. And that just happens to be the case. This thing was abandoned in the garbage can when I bought the guitar to begin with. It's got this old label on here. We have no idea what that label was. Back in the 40s and 50s, every time you went somewhere, they put a label on it. You know what I mean? Welcome to Jamaica. Right? Now, this right here is a baggage stamp that was actually issued beginning in 1953. And I think that they used these through 1956 or 7. In 1958, they introduced a different kind that was slightly different. So that dates this travel between, you know what I mean, 1953 and 1957. So unless it was like brand fucking new, this might be from the late 40s. You never know, man. It's old as fuck. It's old as a fucking witch's dick, right? Hey, I don't mean to talk fucking rude, but I mean, there's some old witches that I know. See how the mice fucking had like a goddamn disco party in this motherfucker? Dancing, 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 dancing scumbags. And I don't see any parts of the label in here. Must have been like just miscellaneous fucking little papers that he chewed up, man. Hey, man, it was the New York Times. So, let's just take the shop vac this fucking thing, clean it out. This looks like where the mice, they really lived right here in this area. This looks like, see, you see some mice shit in there? That looks like where they pissed and shit and everything. And they just like went inside the guitar when they were fucking looking for a label to eat. Because there's glue on the back of that label. Probably had the case open in an attic somewhere. Let's go get high, man. Play that old guitar in your attic, bro. Oh, man, I forgot to close it. Oh, well. Right? Oh, fucking well. So, let's clean it out, man. Just shop vac and I'll see you that my perny friends. Right? Oh, little shop vacuum goes a long way. Look at that. If I was a fucking rodent, I'd move right in. This fucking looks like rolling out the red carpet. So I have that little pitch pipe here, box. It was empty. We discovered. I got all those little label remnants all folded up in a piece of wax paper. This is for future generations to know the truth, man. Call the Truth Williams. I'm gonna put them in here, man. They'll be safe in there. Right, Bing Crosby? I like those things too with the Bowie household. So, let's talk about history. Now, my father always told me history is always written by the people who write it. Sometimes it's not necessarily true. Sometimes it's a bunch of malarkey. Now, there's a guy who wrote this little history of Tay-Tay. And he wrote the history because he wants to try to prove to the world, right, that Vicente Tatay is the company that built all those Ramirez guitars, especially with the Blue Label, you know what I mean, Ramirez that George Harrison played and blah, blah, blah. I mean, he really wants to prove that because he owns 2 Tay-Tay guitars. And he wants to say, oh, I own 2 Tay-Tay guitars, and therefore, you know what I'm saying, all those guitars. And he says, oh, well, you know, look, they have a round label back in the early days, you know what I'm saying, and blah, blah, blah. And then he shows all these pictures of these the Blue Label Ramirez's. And he spends most of the time talking about George Harrison, really. You know what I mean? And how his guitar was actually built by Tatay Tomas, right? See, it even says with his Tatay Tomas guitar. That, my friends, is not true. Not true at all, right? This guy is just trying to, you know, try to prove something that's not true. The real truth is, look, he's also trying to say they had round labels. Well, these round labels were nowhere near the size of George Harrison's, you know, Guitarras para Rondalla, you know, label. It's much smaller. You know, this guy is trying to prove something that's not true. You know what I mean? The fact of the matter is Ramirez guitars were made in Madrid, right? Even these guitars para Rondalla, you know what I mean? What happened was in the late 50s, early 60s, there's a huge boom for guitars, right? So Ramirez got together a whole bunch of people and they set up like a fucking Santa Claus workshop, and they built all kinds of guitars with a bunch of luthiers, you know, that were in the area. You know what I mean? They set up a little factory for lower end guitars. Now, I own a Ramirez guitar with a Blue Label that was definitely made by the same artisans that made George Harrison, because there's lots of similarities, you know, with the headstock of George's and just the construction in general of George's and the rosette and everything. And I will bring it down here and I'll put these 2 fucking guitars side by side and I'll prove this guy wrong just because I want to. Look, he's even saying that Rory Storm had a Blue Label too with a Tatay Tomas and a fine ass girl too. Too bad he killed himself breathing in oven gas, right? Hey, Ringo, you're very lucky that you came over the Beatles, right? So let me show you these guitars side by side and prove this guy wrong once and for all, man. All and for once. These were not made by Tatay. 1, 2, 3. So here we have our little Tatay, right? With its big ass label. Here's a real genuine Ramirez Blue Label from around the time of George Harrison's instrument, right? And you can tell by the headstock shape that it's probably like the same artisan, that did the George Harrison one. So let's start off with the obvious. Look at the bridge. I mean, the bridge is totally different. It's thinner, and this is wider, and this is longer, this is shorter, it's stout. Look at this center seam going down the front of the Ramirez. That's a book match front. This has nothing like that. Nothing at all like that, right? Look at the neck block by the heel inside the Ramirez. It's like a fine, rounded off, artisan thing. Whereas this looks like a fucking piece of driftwood. You know what I'm saying? Look inside, on the side, it has those fine little pieces of perfing. Right? Just like a real Ramirez. This, nothing like that. Look at the sidewall construction. It's totally different. You know what I mean? It's totally different. Right? I know he's saying about the rosettes being colorful, but they're not even that similar. Right? Looks nothing at all. No shape or form. Look at the quality of the rosewood on the fretboard. Right? This is like a crate that they dyed brown. This is like real Brazilian rosewood. Nice dark, greasy rosewood, right? Right. Look at the quality of the binding on this instrument. Look at the quality of it. That was double bound on the side there and the front. Look at the quality of this binding. And this is their flagship. Why would they make like a better instrument for their customer than for themselves? You know what I'm saying? Look how behind that blue label, going down the back seam, there's a long strip of wood, right? It goes behind the whole thing. Look at this, it's got little tiny pieces of blocks. Just like, a Struch did. Many Spanish makers did that. You know what I'm saying? The low-end Spanish makers. This was made by somebody who's looking for quality. Look at the finish itself. This finish is kind of shoddy, whereas this finish is fine and shiny. You know what I'm saying? There's only a difference of maybe like 7, 8 years in the construction of these two instruments. A decade at most. Right? Look at the fret here. How they stuffed a little fret there. Nothing like that here. These have like more of a gold hue, these frets. And these are more like of a cupro nickel, sort of like lighter. Different fret material even. Let's look at the back of the instruments, right? Take a look, man. Take a look. Look at the heel. It's a different shape. Look how this heel block goes down to there. This heel block stops pretty much at the neck. You know what I'm saying? This is what happens when you're trying to make like theories based on pictures that see over reverb. You know what I'm saying? Don't embarrass yourself, man. Don't embarrass yourself, bro. You're wrong. You're totally wrong. And don't spread a bunch of bullshit out there, because these things that this guy's saying on his little thing are starting to be accepted as fact. You know what I mean? In the guitar community. And they're lies. It's fake news. It's fake information. It's not real. You know what I'm saying? It's just not the case. Any shape or form. These were made by a Ramirez team with Ramirez standards, and these were made by Tatay team, 100 miles away. You know what I'm saying? They're different instruments made by different people. Completely. Completely. And the fucked up thing is being accepted as fact by the Ramirez family themselves now, because the elder Ramirez passed a couple of years back. They had no records or anything. He was very young when he passed, and his kids or grandkids took over, and they're like in the early 20s, and they had no idea what's going on. So this guy like contacted them like, hey, I think you guys, you know what I mean, use Tatay Tomas to make all your, blue labels. Oh, yes, I like the Beatles. Yes, this is a very good idea. And they're starting to float the idea themselves. And it's not true, man. It's just a lie. And lies have to be debunked, man.
They have to be debunked because it's just an untruth, man. It's not the same maker. It's not the same quality. It's just fake news. It's bullshit. So let's put on the saddle, the nut. We're going to slap a set of cheap strings on here, right? Because it's a cheap guitar, man. I'd put a set of like nice Savarez light gauges on this guy, but I'm just so worked up right now about, you know what I mean, these lies that are being spread on the internet, just to further some guy's, you know, fact that he's got a couple cheap ass Tatay Tomas in his collection and he wants to feel like George Harrison, right? Dude, look in the mirror and pretend you're George Harrison, bro. Play till there was you. Do whatever you want, but don't fucking lie, bro. Right? I'll see you at the glamour shots. Tay-Tay. Tay-Tay. There would be. Back in action, folks. Tatay Tomas, man. Right? This thing's actually a beast. It's got a big solid neck. You know? It's got these old tuners. The same kind of tuners that are on my Wanna Strooch, which is probably from like the 20s. A little bit more rudimentary. Cleaned up fucking great, though. I mean, considering this thing was like a garbage pick find. You know what I mean? It's actually turned out to be a nice, wonderful Spanish guitar, right? From España. Look at the action on it, too, man. I just want to show you this action. I want you to embrace it. Look at that. Look at the beginning of the video of the action at the beginning, man. You know what I'm saying? You can trap like a fucking antelope in that action. It was so high, man. Antelope ran right under the fretboard and got trapped and got snared with his antlers. So, I've talked about it. You know, I gave you a real earful about my Ramirez, you know what I'm saying, specifications of the bullshit factor, right? And I'm sure you're tired of listening to me squawk and talk, right? And maybe you want to hear me squawk and sing and play, man. And if you don't, sorry, on behalf of the human race. Sometimes we have to talk. So let's hear it, man. And afterwards, I wish you would do by saying, peace be with you. Look after yourself. Valencia, man. Recover quickly, right? Get well soon. We call him Tatay Tomas. Right? So this is part one of our last twofer of the year 24, man. Isn't that incredible? We're almost in the end of the year phase, man. Christmas is actually going to be our last episode of the year. We have a very special adventure, very special part two of our Spanish guitar saga, man. This guitar, nice sounding instrument. Not bad at all, man. Hey, man. Can't say anything bad about it, you know what I mean, other than the fact that it has nothing to do with Ramirez. That has nothing to do with the old Tay fault, man. These are new classical strings, so it'll take them like a couple days before they like stay in tune. You only play for like 33 seconds before it goes out of tune, so I apologize for being a
time waster, especially this time of year where time is so precious, man. Right? Well, I've never been to Spain, but I kinda like the music. Say the ladies are insane there, and they sure know how to use it. They don't abuse it, never gonna lose it. I can't refuse it. Well, I've never been to England, but I kinda like the Beatles. So, peace be with you, man. Valencia, get well soon, man. Sop it up, man. Sop up all those tears. And let's take a fucking sad song and make it better, man. Look at that. Absolutely no lift. No lift at all on that bridge. Still have a beautiful action, man. This guitar has turned out to be a special treat. You know, I'm going to put it back in its case and forget about it. But I can't forget about part 2 of our twofer. It's a very special excursion, man. For Merry Christmas, right? Happy New Year. Peace be with you, right? 2024, we're almost there, man. Roll up for the mystery tour. Step right this way. Roll up for the mystery tour.